So Stu, thanks for chatting today. We're here as part of the Women Who Innovate interview series. No, neither of us are women, but we are married to women.
Yes.
Which is good. So I guess that gives us permission to talk. So the first question is, you've been in the innovation space for a number of years, and I guess one of the questions I would have is, what are the things that you're seeing change fastest at the moment?
Oh wow! So Drew, yeah, it's in the technology space. The only thing that is constant is change, and things are changing even more rapidly. And one of the big challenges that I've been seeing, of course, is that when you have one wave of technology come in, and you have people that they're the adopters and they love it and they get on board with it, when the next wave of innovation comes, are they going to embrace it too, or are they going to be the old way of doing things, which is the new thing that they brought in last time? So you kind of build a career around it, and it's the thing you like it, you're comfortable with it. It's tough. It's easy to get comfortable, and we like to be comfortable in this. So how do we still? One of the speakers here at BIF talked about always be thinking as a beginner. It's like I want to be looking for that next new thing. I want to understand it, and it's that balance between working on things that you like and enjoy and looking for that new thing.
So in that sense, do you think that the cycle rate of change is causing I guess, an innovation fatigue in people who are at the leading edge?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, how many times can we run through this cycle? And cycles, in a lot of ways, are shrinking. So it's tough. It's tiring. It's, those of us that have been through it a few times, you're like, all right, I know what it takes to get people to think of something new and move through this. Do I have another one in me? And That's where it's great to come to an event like this, because it's the people that are going to be, you can do this, and this is how you can focus on it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the other things that I like about this event, is that it gives you time to reflect, which in the kind of work we do, that's not often the case. We're often going just as fast as the people we're working with and the clients we're supporting.
Yeah, and of course there's the kind of the counter movement. I have friends that watch this, and it's like, there's words like disruption and innovation, and they're so overused, and how are we adding value back to the community as large? Mm-hmm. And it's not always about just breaking what's existing. Big debates at this show is what's the role of big companies? Can big companies change? And it's not going to have the entire world run by 20-person companies that come out of the valley. So it is a balance. It's not all black and white, and it's some really interesting discussion.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point. I was also intrigued by Len Schlesinger's presentation yesterday morning, and his former role as president of Babson, which is so focused on entrepreneurship, and his current position as a Harvard Business School professor, and just recognizing the dearth of general management, investment, research, and practice overall. How do you see that influencing whether or not these startup companies, this proliferation of startups that we see at the moment, whether or not they can actually grow into being full-fledged enterprises?
Yeah, great question, because there's a big challenge is how many companies can actually make it, and how far can they grow? So in the technology space that I cover, it's tough to create what are known as unicorns, the billion-dollar companies, because most of them, if you start doing really well, somebody's going to try to buy you. There's a lot of big companies that are looking for innovation from the small companies, and the small companies also run into the challenge that when you hiring that first dozen people might be pretty easy, but getting that 100th or 200th person and getting the same quality person is really, really tough to find. So huge challenges to start up and then to really scale.
Yeah, and I think for many startups, I don't think they recognize that of the major issues that they're going to face. They look at technology issues, and they look at issues of financing. But the one issue that comes up a lot with my clients is the talent issue, the talent management issue. We were talking a little earlier about the fact that the Silicon Valley talent management issue is in the media all the time, but it's kind of reflective of what's going on across the tech sector nationally. So tell us a little bit about what's happening regionally here.
Oh boy, so a good debate as to what happens outside of the valley. So innovation's not only in the valley. We have the Alley in New York City. We've of course got the hub here in the Boston area, and Rhode Island, and what the BIF is doing. Even here in Rhode Island, a small little area that most people don't know as much about, that there's innovation happening. And I love talking to some of the people at this show about how do we find what is the talent, what is the opportunity locally, whether it be the artisans or the technology. There's lots of different pieces, and look, as a tech guy, there's certain special things that only happen in the Valley, but we can learn from them, and we can create smaller pockets for different technologies. So Boston has not only all the biotech, but there's been a bunch of big data companies. So as data being one of the core pieces of it can grow out here. Some of the big waves of database technology came out of MIT. So lots of chance for come out, but there's not as many VCs out here. There's not as many, not all of the characteristics that the Valley has. The non-compete laws are challenged in some of the areas here. I know Massachusetts is one we're looking for government to take a look at. So, I mean, boy, it's such big topics, Drew. You talk about, I not only need, I need the talent, which needs the universities, and I need, what's the housing like, what are the government regulations that fit all of them. So that's why we haven't replicated what's happened in Silicon Valley, but we're learning from it.
Right, great. So I guess in the sense that talent is important. So what are the kinds of choices that you see local companies making about sourcing talent that are innovative in and of themselves?
Yeah, so first of all, it's great. I'm seeing lots of incubator spaces. So whether here in Providence, in the Boston and Cambridge area, they're finding ways to make it more attractive to move there, more attractive to build that kind of ecosystem of not only your company, but some of the peer companies so that you can all grow together and making them great places to live, because there's lots of great places. I mean, here in Providence, there's great food, there's great colleges, there's a good atmosphere. So fermenting that experience where we can expand and grow and have fun.
Excellent. Thanks very much for your time, Stuart.
All right,
Much
thanks so much.
appreciated.
Glad I could do it.